Hello, folks. Welcome back. It's still me. My name is Millie. I am still joined by the wonderful Kate. But we have a new guest with us. We're talking with Etan from the Mind Spots Olympiad. How are you doing, my friend?
Howdy. Yeah, doing well. It's a pleasure to be with you both today. Looking forward to hanging out.
Yeah, I mentioned before the break when we were talking with Matt from Loki, folks might not realise they've met quite a bit of the Mind Sport Olympiads at UK Games Expo. They might not realise this.
That's right. You people might recognize. They might have seen. They might recognize some of our T-shirts. This is one one of the
Yeah.
T-shirts. But often when we've been running a lot of the Euro game tournaments and other tournaments as well at the UK Games Expo for many years now, and we usually wear our T-shirts and we'll plug MSO as well. But yeah, we love what the UK Games Expo represents. We love gaming, we love community, and we're really into tournaments. We're quite there's a place, and I love I love casual play as well. But we can get quite hardcore. So and we love bringing that sharing some of that passion with the UK Games Expo. Um, and I've been going to the UK Games Expo for many years now. So it's
That's
great.
excellent. And you guys are so some people think of tournaments, they think of it's very hardcore, it's this. Whereas you guys do have that focus and things, but you're so jovial and happy and smiley with it. And I love that because people talk about hardcore tournament players and yeah, but at the same time there's this but there's this passion of why don't you guys try this? Why don't you try a small thing first? Have you thought about doing this? And I very much like that about MSO is that it's massively invitational to something that could be quite exclusive, I think.
Absolutely. And that's been a key thing for us. We want to encourage as many people as possible to try as many games as possible and
Mm.
feel welcome. So, it's for all ages. We have kids competing with adults, so it's got to be welcoming, and a whole range of games as well, and some quirky events because we love to mix it up. Just because it's quirky doesn't mean you can't compete.
Yeah.
This weekend, well, we'll get into it in a bit, but we're organizing a friendly series of tournaments this weekend that's open to everyone, and it's all the events are free. But for example, and I think this example kind of shows a lot about MSO. We've got a Catan variants tournament, which is the first of its
Mm.
kind, where every round there'll be a different Catan constraint. Uh, so,
Ah.
so we're actually changing the rules of Catan basically. And so I'll tell you what the constraints are. Let me see here. Round one, you win at 9 victory points instead of the usual 10.
Okay.
So
Oh.
that changes the strategy a little bit. All
Yep.
of a sudden, longest road is a lot more meaningful. Uh,
Yep.
uh,
Absolutely.
so that's one little twist. Round two, uh, the first uh, the first settlements, the first four settlements
Mm.
cannot be placed on ore. That changes it completely as well. It's going to affect development cards, things like that. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Huh.
that's weird. And then round three, one of the two settlements that you place in the beginning has to be placed on the coast where you go
Mm.
for a trading port. So that changes it. And then in the final round, we combine all those rules.
Right.
So, we like to be quirky. We like to mix things up, and yet we're still running this as like a proper tournament with, uh,
Yeah.
you know.
And
So
I
that's
love the idea of that with Catan is that it's almost like there's politics involved in the whole kind of like, well, this is actually a race between people and whoever gets there first gets, the kingdom is more likely to belong to them, or you can't build it on ore because there's seismic something or others,
yeah,
which means if you put a town there, it's just going to fall down, or any of these other things suddenly become there's like that story behind it where you're suddenly, oh no, this is now the crisis that pushes us towards a different set for victory conditions. So
I
that's
love
super
it.
interesting as well because people play a lot of Catan and having that variance. That's good.
Yeah, nobody does that. I love, by the way, how you put a narrative on it. You can tell that you've got a D&D background.
Yeah.
And that's cool. I love that. I wasn't even thinking about that. We should jazz it up really as before each round starts and kind of throw a little story behind it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I will help with that. That'd be amazing. Yeah.
So, so just to take a moment and sort of dial it right back, what is the Mind Sport Olympiad? Obviously, me and Kate and yourself, we know really well, but there's a few folks who might be suddenly like, I recognise those shirts. I just thought they were just folks. Like, what is the Mind Sports Olympiad?
Sure, thanks. Great question, really. So it's yeah, predates me by quite a while. As you can tell by my accent, I'm kind of American. I've been in the UK for quite some time now, but I came as a player and started in 2007. I competed in this series of tournaments, basically that includes Euro games and also traditional abstract games and new abstract games and a lot of other quirky things. So every year, basically, we've got the Mind Sports Olympiad usually taking place in August, and it's open to everyone. And we'll have Etan, we'll have chess, we'll have over a dozen world championships. So again, that shows you how competitive it can be. And those include some weird things as well. We'll have we have a speed reading competition. We have so it's not always just games. A lot of it's about mind sports. We run the mental calculations world championship, where we have human calculators doing just crazy mathematical feats, and we have a memory competition. So there's a lot going on. I mean, just to give you an idea of it, usually in a normal year, we're not. Last year was not a normal year by any means, obviously, but in a normal year, it takes place over a week between 2 weekends, and we've got tournaments every day, several tournaments, and over the course of these 8 days, let's say, we'll have around 70 to 80 different tournaments. You can't compete in all of them because some of them are run in parallel, but you can compete in a lot of them, and anybody can come and just decide that they just want to play in one tournament, have fun, and win a medal. These are last year's medals. You can see.
Oh wow!
They're quite.
That's tremendous.
So
lovely.
It's like a proper Olympiad, that's amazing. And you get shiny
So it is very much in that spirit of just getting people to celebrate and mind sports, and it is a proper Olympiad, absolutely. But what's unique about the Mind Sports Olympiad is in addition to these individual tournaments that anybody can come and play and try and win a medal, we also have meta competitions, and this is something special that nobody else has. And so our crown jewel is the Pentamind. It sounds a bit like pantomime, so it's a little bit confusing, but it's penta as in 5, and then mind as in brain. And basically, over this week, you take the 5 best scores that you've had over the entire week, and there are certain constraints. You can only use one score from each type of game. So we'll have several chess tournaments, but you can only use one chess score in there, for example. So it has to be from different disciplines, but basically the person with the best 5 scores is crowned the Pentamind world champion. And we believe that whoever wins that is the best all-round games player in the world. So that is quite a prestigious.
That's a massive accolade.
It is. And
very much so.
And what's cool about it, I didn't come up with the idea of the Pentamind. It's been part of MSO since its inception in 1997, and this tournament's been run every year since '97. And we've had great champions over the years. Demis Hassabis, the founder of DeepMind, is our old-time Pentamind record holder. He won it 5 times, so he won it a lot in the early days.
He's a Pentamind.
The what? Sorry?
Pentamind.
Yes, that's right. Very good.
There you go. I get a point. Yes. I get a point. I'll be at the bottom of the leaderboard, but I've got 1 point there. There you go.
He is. And it's interesting. We have 2 champions that are right on his heels that both have 4 Pentaminds between them and are vying to match his record. That might happen this year. So Ankush Khandelwal from the UK and Andris Kusk from Estonia, and they're working hard to try and match match Demis's all-time record. But yeah, the Pentamine's amazing. And then we have some other meta events. A few years ago we introduced the Euro Games World Championship, where basically we do the same thing, the best 5 scores from all of our Euro games, because we always have a Euro game session at a given time. So yeah, it's really cool, and it is a little bit different, than casual gameplay. So for example, I love games like Codenames, right? Like that's a brilliant game, but you can't really run a Codenames tournament. I guess you could, but the possibility for cheating is just too high. And we want to make sure that we have tournaments where people aren't incentivized to cheat, and we keep it clean. And in general, I think our competitors are very sportsmanlike, I have to say.
Cool. Should we take a moment? Yeah, I know you were talking about the Pentamine then, but you shared with us a very sneaky, behind-the-scenes, advanced look at something that you've got coming up. Should we take a moment to just whet folks' appetites with a little bit of, while I'm changing over, you could just tell us, what is it we're about to share? What's happened here?
So we produced a documentary about the Pentamine, and it follows actually several of our Pentamine champions as they compete, and it gives a little bit of the history of the Mind Spots Olympiad. Let's just, I guess, play like the first minute and a half or so all here and let people see. But it's gonna, I should say, it should be coming out. It won, this documentary won Best Documentary at Gen Con in August.
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
Very cool.
We're very proud of that. And so that was just a few months ago, and we're hoping to have it available for the public later this year.
All right, so this is Pentamind, the Ultimate Mind Sport Championship. Let's have a look. Every summer, hundreds of gamers arrive in London for the Mind Spots Olympiad. Only one leaves as the Pentamine champion.
The Pentamine is for people that play everything. It's quite different from any other competition. It involves many different games, very different games that involve very different skills.
As a pro gamer, it means everything. It is the World Championships.
If you wanted to show yourself to be the best games player, you have to win the Pentamind.
That's going to show you the early days of the second.
Oh, wow. 1997.
I love the tension on everyone.
I, without further ado, declare the Mind Spots Olympiad open and invite Grandmaster Keaton to make his first move.
Right, thank you very much.
Ready, everyone?
Bravo!
Our ambition was to create an Olympics for the mind. Absolutely huge, internationally giant, the greatest mental sports festival the world had ever seen.
It's been called the biggest gathering of anoraks ever. Experts in chess, backgammon, bridge and other more obscure mind games. These first ever intellectual Olympics have attracted contestants from 30 countries. Top players in, for example, African Aware.
It was amazing. There's like thousands of people, all the top games players around the world in all the different games. All the top chess players were there, all the top fellow players, Go players. It was really exciting.
I think
the Pentamind is
we're getting drawn in here. We could easily watch the whole documentary. I suddenly realised, we're about 2 minutes in. We should probably go back and have a chat with everyone. But yes, like some folks in chat are saying, it does look really cool, and you get the grandness. Like, I know we're quite casual here, just having a chat, but it is like seeing some of those shots there of everyone, and it's a huge event.
So to be fair, I mean, the first few years had massive sponsorship, and it was kind of like, I guess, like the Coliseum in Rome. Like, it was a lot of spectators. It was awesome. When I joined it, it wasn't as big. I've been growing it back, trying to get it back to its former glory. But It's not quite on the same scale that it was the early years, but I will say that the Pentamind itself is harder to win than it's ever been, because you really do get the best all-around players coming, and that's amazing. And so, yeah, I mean, it is very competitive. Last year was a very strange year because of the pandemic, and I would say that in a way, maybe it surpassed the early years. I'm all for real life, I have to say. I can't wait to play again in real life, but because we had it again in Board Game Arena, mostly, not just, we used lots of platforms. We used lead chess, and okay, we can get into all the technical stuff, but we used about a dozen platforms. But we had a lot of participants. We had almost 6,000 unique players compete, which was insane.
That's
right?
tremendous.
And the average participant played in just under 2 events. So we had a little bit over 10,000, event entries. So I mean that was just crazy. So that was on a bigger scale than the earlier. So it's very, very different. That just goes to show the there's always a double-edged sword, like going online, right? But yeah, so MSO, we're proud to have been able to continue the Mind Sports Olympiad even during the pandemic last year. And yeah, we've had a Pentamind world champion every year. And Ankush Khandelwal, who had won the Pentamind 3 times before, won it for a 4th time last year. So that's why he's right on the heels of Demis.
Exciting.
Tied with Andrews. But yeah, it was it is very exciting. I hope people will be able to see the documentary later this year. But what I was trying to say before also, it is a fine balance in trying to have this elite competitive event that's still welcoming, because we still want anybody can come and play. There are no qualifiers. That is part of the beauty of the Sports Olympiad. So we do try and strike a balance there.
And I guess that helps with this.
And that must be tremendous as well. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, I guess the low barrier is helped by so many different events.
Absolutely. I mean, to win the Pentamind is one heck of an achievement. I mean, there was, interestingly, last year we had a newcomer. Maybe it was his second competition, but who took second, Jordi Alexander, and he, it was amazing to see somebody basically go toe to toe with our best players and almost beat Ankush for the title. So it takes a while, I think, to be a Pentamind champion. It's a bit like training for like a triathlon or an Ironman. Often, it's not something that you can just use your natural abilities. You have to really train a lot of disciplines and build up your knowledge base.
And it must be wonderful to be able to go along to these things, because anyone can join in. You must learn so much just by, even if you don't participate, you must learn so much by watching. I mean, I would always say to anyone with any games or gaming or anything, try it. Just do it. It doesn't matter if you get killed horribly during the thing, or if you think like, oh, you know what, that was a good move out of all of these things. I would say always do it, because you can learn, and it's part of the joy of interacting with people and learning the joy of the thing that you're doing and sharing together. I think there's got to be so much you can learn from these incredibly brained people from all over the world. That's astonishing.
Absolutely. So, we did stream and a good amount of coverage, and it's true. You learn so much by watching live commentary, which again, there's been a renaissance of that in so many games these days, which is awesome. But yeah, I mean, the ethos of the Mind Sports Olympiad is to encourage people to try new games. I mean, to win the Pentamind, you have to try a lot of games, and that's and what's cool is even if you just come and play in a few events, you're still going to have a Pentamind score, because you can still see yourself in that 1 or 2 events on down on the leaderboard. And so you've got that little bit of encouragement to go like, oh, maybe I'll try another event, maybe I can get a little bit higher and try and beat your own kind of personal score from the previous year. And that's really what it's all about. And like I said, it's cool. We're very welcoming. If people only want to come and there's one game that they absolutely love, they don't want to try anything else, that's okay. But we would like to just get people excited about all the stuff that's out there, because there's so many great games in the world, and it's good to learn. It's good to open your mind.
Yeah, I like that
very much. So
that motivation. Like, I scored 100. now, maybe between now and the next opportunity, I'll try and work if I can score 110. And it's all that kind of takes away the aggressive kind of competing, makes you've got to just improve yourself. You're the competitor, you're the other team, if you will. Like past me was good, future me will be better, kind of thing. Yeah.
Maybe a little bit, I guess. I was thinking about it. Maybe it's a little bit it's still very different, but there's some similarities maybe to CrossFit. Where
I was thinking about that. Like, folks,
Yeah.
the Open is coming. The Open is coming.
That's right, in March. That's right. I'm thinking maybe of trying to participate. I mean, I know I'm not going to go very far, but again, it just sounds nice to kind of challenge yourself and see if you can improve. And it is interesting. Have you participated in any of those, or Millie?
Yes, but I am contractually obliged not to become a CrossFit preacher on anybody else's social media, because those who CrossFit tell everybody about CrossFit, and I will refrain from doing that. But yeah, they are great in the same sort of.
It's like the antithesis of Fight Club.
Yes, you must tell everybody about CrossFit and the
tell
Open.
Everyone about Fight Club.
But yeah, that kind of, you're the biggest competitor, you're the biggest challenge. It's not like I must beat Kate in the next game of Catan. It's like I need to make sure I've improved myself. It's not necessarily the trash talking of other people. It's not bringing other people down. It's the raising yourself up, which kind of ties nicely into one of the questions we had from chat. Which was about, do you have any ways, any suggestions on how a casual gamer can up their game, can improve it?
Absolutely. So first, as you guys mentioned, watching commentary of good players is such a great way to learn strategy, right? Like, there's great commentary on so many things. I mean, lately there's been a huge chess renaissance where people have been watching so much chess streaming. And the commentary is amazing. And in chess, it's quite cool that the software allows you to easily kind of like create arrows and things like that. So it's very easy to visually kind of convey what's going on. But again, we've got a lot of commentary. You can look on the Mind Spots Olympiad YouTube channel and look at some of our streams and see commentary on games like Corridor, which super simple game to learn how to play, but impossible to master, kind of like Go in a sense, I guess. And we've got commentary on Catan as well, and on Cities and Nights, and all these games. So and not just us, obviously, but a lot of people, a lot of streamers have great commentary. So I think that's great. And look, you have to play obviously in order to improve, right? And have fun, right? I think I think when you're having fun, you're like that. That is the way. What do you guys think? What's a good way to learn?
No, I think you're right. I was thinking back to when I before I used to do the judging. I used to be a netrunner judge. Oh my heart. I used to be a netrunner judge, and before that, there was a big step. There's a big step from playing with your friends to going into a tournament, and it can only be broken by actually having a go, and things like the Olympiad you've got this weekend is a great way to sort of get used to because there's an adrenaline rush when you go into tournaments, and you're like, and I'm used to how my regular, I was used to Dan playing certain decks and certain strategies, and so you build your game around your local play group, and then stepping out into a tournament where you don't know if they're going to follow traditional tournament metas, if you will, and all this kind of stuff, and it can be overwhelming. So stepping into a tournament and just go, all right, okay, this is my first tournament, I'm just going to play, and you get practiced at that, which then in turn helps you get practiced at the game, because you've got a bigger pool to test your skills against.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that you're a judge for like netrunner like tournaments. That's so,
it was
so cool.
Great fun. Like, and I'm sure like you folks, when you do the judging of the tournaments like Catan and stuff, it is just as much fun to sort of help folks and judge, and you have to make sure you know the rules inside out, which is a challenge in itself to make sure you know the odd stuff. Like, if I place this here, can then they do this, and what's the order of the rules kind of stuff, and that is a phenomenal feat as well. But just for improving your game, going back to the Twitch chat, yeah, get involved. So
yes. Do it, try it.
Add one more thing to that. Oh, go ahead, Katie.
No. It was basically it's every time it's do it, just try it, get involved. You're never going to get any better if you're not in it and to get amongst it. And it's not even to win it. It's just to get in and play the game, because that's the first step. Is overcome the fear, get in there, realize that other people have done this too, and that the chap who's got 5 sets of Pentamind winners and owns a tremendous set of other stuff and has gone on to be a very influential person. They started with one game, right?
Absolutely, and the beauty at the Mind Spots Olympiad and a lot of other tournaments, you'll get to play with these champions as well, and win or lose, you get to feel, learn from it. Millie, did you also compete at some of these tournaments as well before you got into
I was never gonna like the thing that I guess myself and a lot of folks will struggle with is sometimes having enough time to test and to practice and to so for me it was very much like the Open, like, okay, so this tournament, this regional, this national, I got 4 wins out of 7. I got 3 wins out of 7. And next year I'd like to come back and maybe just get one more win. Maybe I don't, maybe I end 38 out of 40. Next year I want to be 30th and that kind of stuff. So it was never like I'm not in it because I don't have the time to test. But it was that kind of my score next year. I just like to be a bit better, and it gives you that motivation to then play some more. Like, no, okay. And it's that thing again, and linking it back to sort of exercise. Like sometimes you don't want to do anything. You don't want to sort of, I'm just going to sit here and I'll watch some TV or that kind of stuff. And you think, no. And then by the end of the game or the whatever, the session of testing or the practice, you're like, that was great. I'm so glad I did that. That's lifted my mood. That's made me not sulk in my I'm not doing anything kind of thing. And it is that motivation to go forwards.
Absolutely. I think it helps. Games and competition helps us build resilience. Tournaments can be a little bit anxiety, inducing for sure. But knowing how to deal with that and get and come out stronger, that's big. And I have to say, going back to how to improve, I think one of the most interesting things, and this is something that I think a lot of people try and avoid really digging into, but the most interesting thing is to learn from your losses. These losses can be painful, right? And we move away from pain, but the truth is that's where the learning is, right? That's where you can figure out what were your weaknesses, what could you have done better. That is such a key thing. And I think again, going back to chess, I'm very much of a chess player. There are great chess engines, so there's great AI now where you can go and analyze your game afterwards and see exactly what went wrong, what went well. But learning from that, I mean, that's tremendous. And it's interesting. Yeah, I think I heard that you won a big tournament back in the day in D&D, right?
No. Yeah, millions of years ago. So mine is slightly different. So I've done some wargaming tournaments, not very many and things. But this was the D&D Open back when it was at Gen Con in the UK down at Canberra Sands. This must be 1995 or something ridiculous. And and it was rounds of stuff, and I won a trip to America. It's the first time I went to America. It's the first time I went to Gen Con in America, which I have then gone to, semi-religiously every couple of years since then, which has been brilliant. But so the tournaments of strategy and things I played with tend to be sort of war games or skirmish games. And the two things that I liked from that was I would rather do a smart move, set things up cleverly, and lose because the other player was better than do stupid things and win because the dice happen to be in my favor. That's that's not a good win. I'd rather that we were having an interaction and we pitched it and it's like, that was amazing, you got me right at the end. That's a great way of losing. And the latest one I did was a couple of years ago now. It was the Warhammer Blood Bowl tournament, and I got horribly trounced. I'd never been to a Blood Bowl tournament before. It'd been a million years since I played because the new stuff had come out, and it was wonderful. And the thing I liked most about that is how friendly everybody was. Even when they were, pardon my French, kicking my ass, they still did it in a jovial fashion. It was lovely. And the thing that I liked is I got rated as best loser for a number of people. So this person I enjoyed playing the game with most, even though she lost terribly. And I quite like that, because you're right, good sportsmanship is super important. Learning how to lose elegantly and how to win elegantly means that you are always learning. So you don't just, I win all of this. Well, you've just created a big wall around yourself, which means that you can't learn anymore. Whereas the point is to keep expanding your own mind, because it's going to travel with you, hopefully for all of your life. Yeah. And if you do this sort of thing, it might stay with you and a bit sharper for longer. So that's massively important. But what about you? What's your do you have a favorite game, something you absolutely love pitching yourself against?
Well, I came to the Mind Sports Olympiad as a chess player. I was a chess master already, and
wow.
Won some chess events. That's how I got into MS. So because I was looking for some chess tournaments, and I saw that if you were listed at the Mind Sports Olympiad, and again I got hooked in because I love this idea of trying games, and I'm quite competitive. Again, I don't like losing, but I often throw myself into tournaments where I will get my butt kicked, and that, again, it's a great learning experience, and I'll start to get an intuition for the game. But in terms of games, so I'll plug. I invented a really quirky chess variant, which I'm happy to plug, that does take place at the Mind Sports Olympiad, and it's more about fun, really. Even though it's competitive as well, but it's very strange. It's called diving chess, and we play chess in a swimming pool where the board is submerged, and instead of using a chess clock, you can think for as long as you hold your breath for each move. So that is quite a crazy.
Wow.
If you want, anybody can Google it and see. There's the clips like on YouTube about it. The BBC did a little piece on it as well. But I think that's fun. I like to goof around as well, but yeah, chess is a great game. It's interesting. I love Catan. I've been playing a good amount of backgammon lately, so it's nice to have a bit of also a little bit of probability. And now I was playing I think games like Marco Polo, like they combine like worker placement and a lot of probability are fun. Everything. I always just want to try new games and get a better understanding for them. There's like I said, I'm no Pentamind champion, but I am a Pentamind enthusiast. So yeah, and again, in terms of the Mind Sports Olympiad, we like pushing boundaries. So we got this weekend was friendly games of the Etan variant. We have a chess variant, so some unusual things. We've got Crazy House chess, which is where when you take a piece, it becomes yours. It changes color, and you can put it down as your move.
Yeah.
Okay. Quite fun.
That's very cool.
So yeah, and I also like silly games. I mean, I've been playing The Mind. That's not an MSO game, but The Mind, where you try and get in sync.
Tremendous game.
Yes.
Tremendous game. So yeah, I love just all sorts of games. The world. I mean, I think life is a game to a certain extent, right? Everything is a learning opportunity.
So tell us a little bit more about what's happening this weekend. When does the event start? How do folks sign up and so on?
Sure. So we've got you can go to our Discord channel, which maybe we can put a link for it, or maybe we can show the flyer with it, which also has the link.
So I've got your webpage.
Okay, or the webpage is cool too. So basically, we've got these are tournaments that are open to everyone. They're free of charge, and you register on the day. So you don't have to pre-register. You just have to show up. Let's say like 30 minutes before the start of the event, and they're all pretty short events. So on Friday we've got this crazy house chess. We've got a weird backgammon variant called hyper gammon, which is where you only play with 3 pieces instead of the entire backgammon set. And that really changes the strategy tremendously. So that's quite cool because you still have to take them around and get them out, but 3 pieces is very different than the whole, I think, 15. So that's quite cool. Then we have we've got Catan variants on the Saturday afternoon, which is also, we wanted it to be time zone friendly also for the US. So everything is Friday evening and then things in the afternoon and evenings on Saturday and Sunday. We've got Lines of Action, which is a modern abstract game, Corridor, and on Saturday. And then we've got Stone Age and Seven Wonders.
Oh, Seven Wonders.
Love Seven Wonders. Again, what a brilliant game. The fact that I love that everybody makes a move simultaneously. It doesn't matter that how many players there are. It still keeps its pace quite well. Oh, yeah, it's beautiful to see. Then we have Battle Sheep, which is like a really easy game for people to learn. If you wanted to jump in and try a simple game, it's really fun. Battle Sheep is really easy, played on Board Game Arena.
Battle Sheep.
Battle Sheep, yeah. It's really simple.
It's like bah.
Like that, yeah. It sounds like Battleship, yes. I like the wordplay, but yeah.
Okay, no. Just checking.
It's really cool. Like you get 16 sheep. You've got this hexagonal board that you get to build. You take turns building with your opponent, and then you start with 1 stack, and every move you get to move as many sheep as you want from a stack and spread them over the board. And you're just trying to basically gain as much space as possible until you run out of sheep moves. That's it. Simple. So the game.
That's amazing.
I like games where, again, it takes less than 30 seconds to learn the rules, and off you are, like for a deep strategy game, again, like Corridor as well. Battleship, it's a lovely game. And then we have Circle of Life as well, which is a new game, and it's interesting. I actually maybe I might be going on a tangent here, but I'll share. I interviewed the inventor of Circle of Life, Nick Bentley, last week, and we're talking about he loves modern abstract games, so games that are kind of very geometric, less about a theme, and usually don't have any luck involved, and have perfect information, right?
Yes.
So we're talking about, again, this isn't just about modern abstract, but he has a PhD in neuroscience, and we're talking about why do people like games, right? And he had this idea. Now I've been thinking about it, that to some extent, like, games perhaps resonate with some of our evolutionary instincts. So, for example, he was saying that we like hunting games, and chess is a hunting game. You're hunting a king. This goes back to us being hunter-gatherers, right? And he was saying that we also like, as gatherers, we like building games. We like what we're building. There's something very, just intuitively about us as humans. We like to build things and gather things, right? So games that do that, even Catan or Go, or in different ways, right? And then and he was saying, Go is a bit different because it almost looks like life, like bacteria, kind of like eating things, right? He says that we like games that also simulate life to some extent. And then we were talking about, I was asking him, and he's not sure yet, but I was saying, we love racing games as well, right? Like we like to race as humans.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I was asking, maybe that comes from our fight or flight, like the ability to flee, maybe as an instinct. I don't know, but he wasn't sure about that. But what do you think of this crazy theory of evolutionary, I guess, psychology?
Yeah. Certainly
so it's actually really good. So, I mean, mammals learn through play. So my degree is biology, and whilst I did a PhD in plant molecular biology, which has nothing to do with that one, from an animal point of view, you learn through playing. That's one of the major rules, because people say, oh no, I don't see the point in games, I don't like, I've never played a game. It's like, you're kidding. One of the first games you'll ever play is the whole peekaboo. you know, because at that stage you haven't learnt that an object has permanence, and if you can't see it, it disappears. So you covered your eyes, you see it again, you realize it's there again. This is astonishing. This is like groundbreaking stuff, you know, and you laugh because it's weird and it's new. And you learn object permanence, that even when your eyes are closed, you can see other things, which then realizes that if you're out in the dark, it doesn't have to be scary because you know that the chair is here and, you know, the cat will be somewhere there as the variable. But, you know, it's that kind of thing. But you're right, with the chasing and things, there's also, because it's the fight or flight, there is a joy of adrenaline and of movement and of things like that. And this is interesting. So I was reading a bunch of stuff about long distance running. So the people who do ultra marathons and so on, where it's ludicrous distance. And one of the things is that they think that because we sit in an office, sit in a chair, sit in this, we've built ourselves a cage. And what the running does is release that, because you're supposed to be moving all the time. So again, this thing where you're racing and playing racing games taps into that primal thing of, I should get up, I should move around more, I should do this, you know, and it's that level of stuff, which I think from a day-to-day thing for comfort and for ease and for business, I think we've lost. So yeah, I would definitely subscribe to that model.
I will say, by the way, just a random tip that I heard that's kind of cool, because so many people are working from home during the pandemic, you can simulate a commute by going outside and walking around and then coming into your house. So some people were encouraging simulating commuting, you know, before you start work and ending work, the work day, which is kind of funny. That makes sense. But yeah, we don't want to be stuck in a box. You know, and then, you know, that is not good. I agree. And these ultra marathon runners, I mean, they are so inspiring. I mean, it's so insane, you know, what they do. I mean, it also is a little bit disgusting.
Yes.
Right? I've heard that, like, you know, toenails fall off basically at the end of these races. You know, that's how
Yeah.
how intense it is. But I heard about a really weird world championship.
Yeah. It's fine. They regrow.
Yes, they do.
You know.
That's true. For all you know, maybe it's good for you. Right? I don't know. That's right. But have you done anything like that extreme?
I've done 3 marathons.
No,
No, go ahead.
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. So that is just
3 marathons.
Yeah. I've done 4,
Well-
but I didn't finish that one. The other one.
Was that your first one that you didn't finish? Or?
No, it was actually the last one I didn't finish. It was here in my hometown. We have what is it called? A guild. Every so many years we have a guild event, and there was the guild marathon. Unfortunately, where I live, it is the wettest city in England. So you can imagine a marathon around the wettest city in England being pretty miserable. And I ended out at 21 miles for that one. But yeah, no, I totally get the running and the distance stuff and that kind of thing is again, it's like bring it back to it's like challenging yourself. Like no marathon runner is ever really doing it to see if they could do it the fastest. Like when you see like the training and the stuff the guys with the major sports brands do, and they're like doing a 20-minute marathon, no average person is trying to beat that on a flat course in perfect shoes on a perfect windy day. You know, that kind of stuff. And most marathon runners, most folks who do it are there to try and see if they can, and when they come back to the same course next year, 2 years time, if they can do it 5 minutes better. Yeah. Just be in the earlier wave. I'm going to follow that marker, and then, you know, bringing it back to your Mind Spots Olympiad, just that little bit better, just that little bit more. Can I challenge myself?
Because I also believe, you know, as both of you were saying, that these things also translate. So if you're able to, you know, push yourself and you know and learn, like that will translate to other parts of your life as well. So, you know, if completing a marathon gives you confidence to know that you can do anything, right?
Well,
to some extent.
Yeah, I was just thinking back to the tournament kind of thing. Like we went on a lot about losing and how important it is. It's really important to know how to carry on after you've lost, because in a tournament you've got 3 or 4 events.
Yeah.
And if I lose my first one, there's even a word for it, like you tilt. Like, do you tilt in the tournament? And then because you've got yourself into that situation where, like, oh, I was so daft to have played that move or that gambit or that, you know, that kind of opening, now that's all you can think about, and you can't then go forward. So the ability to know and that kind of translates into loads of things like job applications, events, and all that kind of stuff, where you now want to do things, but you've been knocked back. How do you carry on? How do you keep going forward? So many valuable things that, it's so wholesome. It's a big wholesome circle, isn't it? Oh,
so cool. I would love to do something like a marathon or a triathlon. I did a 10K many years ago, but I've always been a really bad swimmer. So for me to try and do a triathlon, that seems like a good personal challenge. So I'm interested. Right before the pandemic kicked in, I was signed up to do a Spartan race.
Oh yeah.
And it got canceled.
Oh wow.
At the last minute. So I was doing a little bit of training there. So that's like 30 obstacles. So no, I mean it's great and for me, it's the same thing, whether it's a game or learning. I mean, games are an obstacle course as far as I'm concerned, right?
Yes.
By the way, random things I wanted to share. This is just like really random story. So we run a memory competition, and Ben Pridmore runs it for us, and he's been the memory world champion several times. An amazing guy, really, really, really cool dude. And he told me this story about how this was quite a while ago, but he wanted to set a world record for memorizing pi, the number pi, right? Because it's an irrational number that goes on forever. Yeah. And it was interesting that there was some sort of etiquette within the memory world where usually if someone had a record of 40,000 digits, and the etiquette is usually you don't just go up to 40,001, because that's bad etiquette. You have to really, I don't know, you go up by something impressive, basically, and usually by a few thousand, I guess. But the person that had beaten at the time, this was in the noughties, had beaten the 40,000 digits was someone I think from Japan who had memorized. He basically said, "I'm going to take the length of a marathon in meters." So, which is, I don't know, 42,000, whatever it is, 159, I don't know, something like that. I'm not sure exactly what that is, something around the.
Wow.
And so that was the number of digits that he memorized, and his excuse was, that's an interesting number. And Ben was training to beat his number. He was trying to go up to 50,000. So, really blow it out of the water. And just as he was about to do it, he was able to do it. And just as he was getting ready to demonstrate it, someone in Japan had really blown the record out of the water by going up to 80,000 digits.
Gosh.
So,
wow.
Which was just insane. I mean, it took him 16 hours just to
recite it all. Yeah.
It was, the feats that people can push themselves to do, it is amazing. And Ben does say, I'm no memory competitor, but he says anybody can train themselves. Anyone can become a memory athlete. And I've learned the technique. I can do a deck of cards, but that took me a little bit of practice. And there's a system for it. Anybody can do it. You just have to learn the system. But it's fun. It's fun to push yourself and learn. I'm never going to break any records. It takes me 5 to 10 minutes to memorize a deck of cards. Now the world record, I heard it's something, I think it's around 13 seconds or something, where they just take a deck and go, shoo, they're looking at the cards.
Cats.
And then, yeah. I mean, at our competitions at MS,
wow,
people do it in 21 seconds, 22 seconds. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, the things that the humans are capable of, it's insane.
It is, and it's absolutely amazing. But it all has to start somewhere. Somewhere. And like we were talking about, the best way to get better is to give it a go. And you've got a perfect opportunity for that this weekend with the winter sports, the winter games. And it starts on the 17th.
Absolutely.
No, not is that today? When does it start? Let me get
today's 17th.
It starts on the 19th. There we go. Starts on the 19th. And
19th.
We've put some links in chat. Or you can head over to the msoworld.com website and find out more information. And if people find out they're a little bit too late, you hold regular events and things that folks can just get involved with.
Yes, absolutely. So just to highlight, this weekend is super casual. there's no medals. We will be hosting another proper one with medals later this year, so we are planning for that again in
Nice.
August. But this weekend is super casual. It's still competitive play, but yes, a lot more casual. But we're always looking for interesting things to do, and we would love to have people involved. It's all about building up that community.
It's awesome. It has been great. I feel like we could chat for a good long while, but eventually my tummy will start rumbling.
Yep.
And it interrupts and just gets in the way too much. So we're going to have to call it here, folks. But thank you for joining us. Thanks for the wonderful comments in chat. Everybody really seems to love either what you do because they've already seen it, or lovely to get involved with. And I think you're going to have some new players this weekend.
Everybody's welcome.
Good. I like it. And we will be back next week with more lunchtime chats for you, meeting some new wonderful people. Once again, thank you for joining us here on your lunchtime, and we'll be back soon. Bye.